Hey, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. Lots of great things happening all around our economy. And right now, as we come into just about to dock into the end of hour one, Dow Jones down 70. A little bit shaky this morning. Still some pessimism and fears out there about whether or not China is fairly reporting the numbers of victims in this coronavirus outbreak. We'll keep you posted on that. Bitcoin's looking good. But very deep in the numbers and all the other great things we're talking about in the Trump economy is, to me, a very good stat. And recently reported that the December new housing starts were up an annually adjusted 16.9% for 2019. It's about another 1.6 million new homeowners in the country, and a 16% gain in new home ownership is good news for the economy. Most people, their home is their biggest, most concentrated investment. And to break down what this number and other things could mean for your portfolio and for your life, Jason Lanyard joins us. He is a real estate broker with Douglas Elliman, and a man, according to Rob Taub, who knows quite a lot about the financial markets. Jay, thanks for joining us today on Liquid Lunch.
Nice to see you.
So housing starts are up. The president in his State of the Union talked about African-American housing starts are up. Asian-American home ownership is up. To me, all these things have good effects on the economy. A, people are taking ownership of a piece of America. And B, with housing starts going up, there's more excavators, engineers, architects, laborers, et cetera, et cetera. What are you seeing on the ground level with people looking for houses?
Well, I deal in primarily the New York City market, which is drastically different from the rest of the country. That being said, I do think it needs to be pointed out that a lot of this surge is related primarily to two factors. One is the lowest interest rates that have been, really at historical lows for several years running, which really even precedes, of course, Donald Trump's ascendancy. And then you also have the aspect of the stock market doing really well. And sometimes the stock market can have an inverse relationship with the real estate market. We're seeing outside of the coastal states, which of course is something I think we should discuss in a second, we're seeing a really good sort of escalation along with the stock market. That is a very healthy sign.
So you think maybe some people are taking profits from their portfolio? Hey, I'm up big in my portfolio. Take some dough here and put a down payment.
Traditionally speaking, that's where a lot of...
borrow some money cheap, and the ROI on the whole portfolio gets better.
Exactly. And that's usually what happens even in the higher end markets where, we always, as brokers, we wait for those January, February bonuses from Wall Street, and that can often surge in the market. We have not seen that, though, in the last few years in New York City. And I think it needs to be stated that while the aggregate numbers are very successful, and it's important to acknowledge them, they don't tell the full story about the submarkets, and I'm talking about different parts of the country where certain housing is extremely depreciated, and then there are other areas where national sort of legal codes are having a very disparate effect on housing sales.
So do you think, although the rates are low, and if you remember going back to Obama, they were way lower, they were zero. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
the recession, that's because of the recession.
Right, but I'm saying, so we're significantly higher than where the rates were for most of Obama's presidency. But even at 2%, the president's not happy with that. Do you think lowering the rate a little more here would bring more buyers into the market?
No. I don't think the interest rates are at all an issue, nor is the mortgage market. I think that it's more that I wanted to sort of mention that the GOP tax code did sort of start to splinter a lot of markets. And I think that it's better when the market functions in a more holistic fashion. And I think that it's just an unnecessary...
What do you mean splinter? I'm not
Well, so what
that.
happened is the GOP tax code really didn't impact a lot of middle America because the average expense for carrying a unit, a home even, a large house was, maybe $5,000 in taxes a year. But in a lot of the coastal states, California and New York, and you can say what you want about the wealthier areas, they capped that at $10,000, and it had a very, very drastic effect on investing and the luxury market. And, you know, as a conservative, you're going to probably espouse the trickle-down economics. And this actually it was literally like taking an axe, you know, to a tree. And it was only a political motivation. So my only point here is
talking about the SALT deduction
Yes, the
for
SALT
state
deduction.
and local
I'm sorry, I
taxes and real estate taxes that affected everyone in the country, but maybe disproportionately affected some coastal states because there's a cap of 10 grand. The carry in another state is lower. In New York or New Jersey, you're over 10 grand, so it hurts you.
You're right. And so what happened is it just unnecessarily, unnaturally halted a lot of development and a lot of buying power. Whereas I think if it had not happened, the market in other parts of the country would have also surged because there wouldn't have been this sort of like limit to what people are purchasing. The purchasing power is really important.
All right. Well, there's no limit to how much this guy knows about real estate, that's for sure. But we're out of time. We're going to have you back, Jay. Thank you very much. And we deliver it to you many ways on this show, on the rocks, neat, sometimes a little dirty, but it's always straight up, like all of our guests. Jason Lanyard, thank you very much. Thank you for being there through hour one, but don't go anywhere. We're going to do some really fun news, and Frankie's going to join us for a little bit. I don't know if you noticed how great the show is looking today. Technically, the team is doing an amazing job, and Frankie's over there like the commander-in-chief, making sure everything stays on, but he's going to join me right after this.